he said to make him feel uncomfortable. This is meant to make fascists feel uncomfortable, so if you feel uncomfortable, I don't really notice
He
it.
wants to make the fascists, i.e. students, feel uncomfortable with the flag on the wall. So we always confront these people. Now this is actually before I was born. There's a guy named Mike Wallace at 60 Minutes. I realize Mike Wallace is dead. But he used to do this sort of thing, you know?
Gabriel, hello, how are you?
So RC confronts Gabriel Guy here in Sacramento, outside his house.
Generals with Project Veritas. Nice to talk with you.
And the guy actually has a hammer and sickle on his t-shirt.
Yep.
He's got one tattooed on him too.
But what's bizarre about the interaction is when Gabriel, this is here in Sacramento, when we confronted him, his response to RC confronting him.
Don't mind my colleague recording. We are recording, but I think you're going to be more interested in what I have to say here.
He doesn't feel comfortable. But didn't he say that he wants to make people feel, the fascists feel uncomfortable? Did we just go over this idea of doublethink? Doublethink means the power of holding two contradictory beliefs in one's mind and accepting both of them. These are the sorts of people that we expose.
Gabriel, hello, how are you?
Now, what's remarkable is what happened next. Remember this?
Dave.
There was a school board meeting, and this is like right around the time of the Virginia school board meetings. And my former employer and I, we'll get to that in a minute. We broke this video, and suddenly something amazing happened, that people flooded the school board meetings, parents. And by the way, you're about to hear from a few of them. These are some of my favorite moments. These are not necessarily Republicans or Democrats or left or right. They're just angry mama bears. And they're pissed off, and they're talking about these tapes. It was very inspiring to see these people righteously indignant about what we exposed.
He was allowed to change my daughter's mind about some fascist crap that y'all have let in this school.
She wanted a fascist. She said change his mind from being fascist.
This is ridiculous. I'm from Texas.
Yeah.
Don't go on in Texas.
Don't belong in Texas.
Now it does.
Other people spoke at the school board, one after the other. There were hundreds of people, okay, that spoke at the school board
What has
meeting.
been exposed about Gabriel Guy by Project Veritas is exactly what I was concerned about.
And they put out a statement. They said that this is Sacramento, Natomas United. We're aware of the video. We understand the parents are upset. We will look into this matter and take appropriate action.
They paid him
So
$300,000.
during the school board meeting, something remarkable happened. They shut the school board meeting down. Sources would tell me, you can't make this up, that the FBI shut the school board meeting down.
Of course.
I don't know what jurisdiction they have, but they came into Natomas and said, we can't have these pesky journalists exposing what the people are saying. So the FBI and the superintendent and all the people snuck out the back door of the school board meeting and got into their Teslas and drove away.
Micah Grant. Micah Grant. Sac
They
GOP.
literally drove away in their Tesla cars in the middle of the school board meeting while all
No
the hundreds of
agitators.
parents are angry. Now you might say, well, this doesn't.
Or at a
this is
church,
what I hear from
Destiny
most people
Church.
I present to. Sure, James O'Keeffe, you expose them. And
Share it for me, Eddie.
It doesn't matter.
Share away, buddy.
It doesn't make a difference. That's just one person, right? That's what you all are going to say in your Q&A, you know. But they're so powerful, there's so many, and we're so few. Well, actually what happened is this guy got fired. He got fired.
They paid him. Should say it. He also got paid.
So, if something did happen to these people, nothing ever happens to these people. Well, with that attitude, nothing ever will happen to these people.
Thanks,
You
guys.
have to believe that something can change for you to actually change it. This guy got fired, and not only that, but mainstream media covered the fact that he got fired. See, they don't cover what he said. They covered the reaction. Let's take a look at this. This is CBS13.com.
For the past month, Gabriel Geip has been put on paid administrative leave. Tonight, the school board making an official decision to fire him.
I understand
Seen
it's
to
very
her brain.
difficult for a teacher in California to be fired. We managed to make that happen.
300 grand, right? He's gonna say it.
That's only one. That's only one, O'Keeffe. Okay, well then go get some more. What do you mean it's only one? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Hey, that's a Chairman Mao quote, by the way. So, and let me give you the guy. I want to talk about winning. Okay, I'm so tired of whining. I'm tired of complaining. The country's so bad, etc. No, let's talk about. We're going to have fun tonight. We're going to talk about some victories. All right. This week, I'm talking about. It is July 7th. It's Friday night. Guess what happened Monday? On Monday, I'm not going to press the button because if I press the button, you'll see what I'm about to say. 3 years ago, your state of California has a law that says you can't record someone unless you get the permission. Now there's an exception. You have to be in a loud restaurant, etc.
You can do it now.
Oregon has a similar law. 3 years ago, next month, I sued the state of Oregon in federal court. A year after that, federal judge in Oregon ruled against me. But this week, the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals, that's your federal appeals court, overruled that federal judge and struck down the law. Court of Appeals in Pasadena, California, 2-1, struck down Oregon's recording law because of a lawsuit that I filed 3 years ago. These are pictures of me walking to the courthouse in Portland, Oregon. It's a tragedy that
body armor
in
on.
the United States we have to wear bulletproof vests in an American city. But there's us walking with Andy No,
Good old
the
Antifa.
famous journalist, standing outside the court. We filed the papers in court August 24th, 2020. Oregon law section 1. California has a similar law. Section 165 provides that a person may not record someone unless you get them, you specifically inform them that you're recording them. Well, I filed a lawsuit and I said, well, Your Honor, let me get this straight. I can take contemporaneous notes of what they're telling me, but I can't record them? What sense does that make? And the federal judge ruled against me. But the 9th Circuit Court of Appeal, the federal judge actually said, quote, you can engage in undercover investigations without audio recording. That's ridiculous. The judge was overruled by Circuit Judge Ikuda, and she said, quote, this is a beautiful thing, 9th Circuit Court of Appeals, Oregon law generally prohibits unannounced recordings. We conclude, because of James O'Keeffe's lawsuit, that Oregon's law is a content-based restriction that violates the First Amendment right to free speech and is therefore invalid on its face.
Yeah, buddy.
Invalid on its face. Struck down as unconstitutional. Just a guy from New Jersey, guys. We're getting some wins. Now you might say again, now the frequently asked questions is, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Like, did his mother drop him on his head when he was a kid? Like, you might be wondering, who am I? What got me started? Let me talk to you a little about that. Let me tell you a brief story about myself. This is what people ask about, right? What happened when you were 17, right? Because, and then there was a guy, was his name Max? Are you here, Max? Where's Max? 18 years old, ambushing the governor. Let me tell you a story about my life.
Get that on video.
Of course
It may or may not be interesting.
Max.
A brief story. There's me.
If you could send me your line.
Maybe I was 3 years old. This is me and my dad. Again, 2 or 3 years old. My mom. When I was a kid, my father was a carpenter, and he bought this ratty old home in New Jersey and decided to fix it up by himself. It was the cheapest old ratty house. It was a 100-year-old house.
Dope.
And the house was in such bad shape that it was almost condemned.
Wow.
This is actually a picture of the garage. It was actually
falling
a carriage
apart.
house. This was built in 1886. And there were automobiles, there
That
were
is so
horse and
cool.
buggies. And my father and grandfather repaired this structure. It was leaning 10 degrees off the perpendicular, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And they single-handedly repaired it by themselves. It was actually amazing to watch. My
Man,
grandfather,
sure.
who was dyslexic, could build things out of nothing with scrap materials he literally salvaged off the side of the road. I was a very young boy. I was probably 5 years old when this photo was taken. They would solicit me to help them with this work. I did not like doing this work as a child. Most of the time I handed them tools. But I watched them build something out of nothing. This is a picture of the three of us. James O'Keeffe Sr.
Stop
James
hating
O'Keeffe
liberal
Jr.,
mom of
and
America.
James O'Keeffe.
Stop being such a hater. You're always hating.
Rowdy Irishman.
Still watching his channel.
Yeah. Still giving me that view time.
Around the year 1990. There's my father, hardest working person I've ever met. People would always say, oh, you can't do that. You can't save that house. And he just did it anyway.
The Prudent Patriot.
And it was just the three of us working. That's me with a mullet. As I got a little older, I was forced to do things that were more difficult and handling tools. I had to scrape lead paint. And by the way, this is something where you actually do want to wear a mask. But I didn't wear a mask. Maybe that explained what happened.
It's the 70s
I
and it's
scraped
the
the
80s,
lead
baby.
paint, I primed the home, and then I would paint the home. There was one moment I was doing this one day where I had to take wallpaper off the wall. And my grandfather, it was just my grandfather, my dad, and I. And I was scraping the wallpaper with my fingers with a tool, trying to get the wallpaper off this old house. And I said, I really don't want to do this. I was probably 10 years old, and I actually started to cry. And my grandfather
Really
said,
assuming
"Do
someone's
what you have
gender?
to do to survive."
Bad thing.
And he just watched me scrape this wallpaper. It took me like 6 hours. And I really hated it.
You're a bigot.
There's a picture of me and my grandfather. They're doing that. Look, I'm wearing a Palm Springs t-shirt. When the house was finally finished, this is my dad when he was about my age. It was such an achievement that my parents actually won an award from the state of New Jersey.
That's tight.
They actually won a award for saving the house. You know, and it was a pretty remarkable thing. And my dad did it all by himself. And then the unthinkable happened. Just shortly after the house was completely restored, on St. Patrick's Day, luck of the Irish, we got a phone call, and I remember coming home, and I remember my mother and my father in tears. The house burned down.
Oh.
And destroyed, or at least gutted, everything that we had done for so many years. And people in town said, you can't save that house.
Dad's saving it.
And my grandfather told my father, it's okay, we're gonna save the house.
That's right.
Moved back into the house. I'm a little bit older now. And for the next 2 years, my sister, mother, and father, we went back to doing all the same work all over again. And we restored the house. My grandfather never retired. He lived at home in the attic of that house. And he worked up until the day he had a stroke at age 80 on a ladder.
Nice flannel.
Fast forward, at 25 years old, I was arrested by the FBI. Completely unrelated, moving fast forward.
Savage, James. Savage.
By the way, the FBI likes to come after me a lot. Oh, yeah. I may be the only man you'll ever know who isn't a drug trafficker, cartel person, or Jeffrey Epstein, although they don't go after Jeffrey Epstein people anymore. I may be the only man you'll ever know who's been put in handcuffs twice by the FBI, and I'm a journalist. I was arrested by the FBI, I wrote a whole book about it. It's called Breakthrough. I was a political prisoner for investigations I'd done. This is a picture of me walking out of jail when I was 25. I was falsely accused. They said that I tampered with phones in a federal building in Louisiana. I was just asking questions, but they falsely accused me, threw me in a prison cell. I spent a year fighting this and eventually got 3 years of federal probation for something I didn't even do. It was a misdemeanor. Confined in New Jersey under federal supervision with no organization and no money, I needed a place to land. I decided to start an organization. I didn't want to call it the James O'Keeffe Show. Everyone has a show, by the way. Have you noticed this? I get invited to go on so many shows. I don't have any time to go on your show. I have to go do journalism. So I don't want to call it the James. I wanted to call it something that meant something greater than me, because I truly it was a movement to create accountability and transparency. I wanted something that could transcend me. Of course, no good deed goes unpunished, right? So I decided to call it. I had a newspaper in college called The Centurion, and the motto of that newspaper was Veritas Vos Liberavi, which is Latin for "The truth shall set you free." So maybe we'll call it the Veritas organization. And then someone beside me said, "Why don't you call it Project Veritas?" I said, and that's it. While I was on federal probation with zero money, I mean, I was broke. I was so broke that I remember driving to DC. I took the Chesapeake Bay Bridge instead of 95 because it was $3 less. That's how broke I was. While on probation, with no money, I needed a place to have a little office. And that carriage house, that I was the thing that began my life with, that became the first Project Veritas office.
Wow.
That was 2010. And we broke one story after another, and I didn't think about creating an organization. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna create this big media, or no, I just put one foot in front of the other. That's what you have to do. One by one, brick by brick. People don't like that. Everyone wants a silver bullet solution. Just elect this politician and all of our problems will go away. No, that's not how it works.
Not at all.
It's brick by brick, video by video, story by story, changing one heart and mind at a time. 6 years later, we moved into a new office. This is in New York.
Nice.
And it was a beautiful office. My sister and I designed it. And we built this office at Project Veritas. We broke hundreds and hundreds of stories to Project Veritas. Many of you have seen those stories. Actually, in the day, you can't make this stuff up. The day after we broke that Natomas story here in Sacramento, that evening, during the school board meeting, there was a once in 100-year flood in New York, in this Westchester suburb of New York City. A once in 100-year storm came. I forgot the name of that hurricane. Was it like Irene or Ida? I can't remember what it was called. It was that night of the school board meeting in Sacramento. We were watching the school board meeting on the walls of this office on our big TV, and someone said, guys, there's 3 feet of water in the street. And we saw water coming in the front door of the building. The building completely was flooded.
It never
And
stops.
our office was completely destroyed.
It never stops.
And we had to rebuild that whole office all over again.
Get out of the East Coast.
And this was in October of 2021. The office was back in, I think we were back in June of 2022. And in February of 2023, I was removed from my position at Project Veritas.
Boo!
In a minute. But moral of the story, resilience. You have to be resilient. You know, Max was asking me, what advice do I have? I said, be unafraid and follow the facts, but never give up. So at OMG, now if we haven't pissed off like the FBI and Pfizer, we're going after BlackRock.
Oh yeah. They start wars for money.
It's a good story. You know, people ask this in the video, maybe you've seen it. We have more to come. On Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock, Wall Street. He talks about making money off Ukraine. He talks about bribing off politicians. BlackRock is one of the most powerful companies in the world. And he says, quote, they don't want to be in the news. They don't want people to know these things. See, what makes a good story is the cover-up. What makes a good story is the deception. We don't want anyone to know that we're doing this, is what he says. And I always confront these people.
Hey there. Is this seat taken?
You should see the look on their faces when I do this.
Oh, yeah.
I like to confront these people too.
Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah. Dylan. She runs into the elevator.
Burberry on, he's got the hair. What's with the hair? It's like a 1960s thing they got going on there. This is another story where, you know, we had to go to Beverly Hills and wait outside his home. He had makeup artists come, another makeup artist come. There were so many makeup artists all day getting ready for this. And we followed to the Four Seasons Hotel. He goes in the women's bathroom. I stand outside the bathroom.
He goes.
With the microphone in my pocket. And then he comes out. Oh, I'm freaking out.
Don't misgender, James.
And I follow him. What do you think about the women who are being raped by the men who are transgender? Do you have a comment about that? What do you think about, what is your comment to the women who are being raped by men claiming to be transgender, Dylan? So I'm actually most calm when I'm ambushing people. I get nervous when I'm not doing this. My blood pressure goes down, my stress goes down. This is where I need to be. So let's talk about Pfizer. That's a story we did recently. You've seen the commercials, right? Brought to you by Pfizer. Brought to you by Pfizer. Imagine we put that in our videos. Like no one would take us seriously if we just were owned by something.
America is brought to you by Pfizer. CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer. Anderson Cooper 360.
Pfizer.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah, how do you have any credibility if you're being owned by somebody? So we decided to expose Pfizer. And I don't know if you've seen this video.
Oh yeah.
This was the most watched video of all time that I've ever done.
That's what cost you your job, James.
Pfizer video, Pfizer guy. This guy is actually not a low-level guy. He's an upper-level guy talking about mutating the COVID virus. And I confront him. Now, I'm going to talk about this because this is really wild. You can't make this stuff up. This looks like a sitcom, but it's too crazy to be a sitcom.
It's like Seinfeld.
Here. Is this seat taken? Hi. You work for Pfizer. My question for you is, why does Pfizer want to hide from the public the fact that they're mutating the COVID?
This guy's about to go through the 5 stages of grief.
He freaks out.
That virus
Is this real life? This is absurd.
Why does Pfizer want to hide from the public that they're mutating the COVID virus?
Oh my God.
You're on video.
I'm out of here.
You're on video.
He tries to break his camera.
By the way, I chose the one restaurant in Brooklyn, New York, where you got Jesus on the wall. It's like a demon, like looking up at God. You cannot make this stuff up. Okay? You can't write this stuff. If I brought this stuff to Netflix, they would laugh at me. It's absurd. Truth is stranger than fiction. That's the name of the next book.
Bro, first of all, I'm literally a liar.
I'm literally a liar.
Bro, first of all, I'm literally a liar.
His excuse is that he's a liar. Believe everything I'm telling you right now. This is really crazy. Let's see what happens next.
I'm not even a scientist by background. You know,
I lie about everything.
firm that does business. This is absurd. This is absurd. So
Please do call the cops.
Now he wants to call the police on me, which is ironic for 2 different reasons. First of all, they want to defund the police, and they're calling the police. Second of all, I'm asking questions. I'm a journalist. What are they going to do, arrest me? Well, maybe they will. That's happened before.
Can I talk to you, please, about this video?
Now there's...
White people.
White people.
Those damn white
How are we
people.
bringing race into this? What does that have to do with Big Pharma?
Well, why would you bring race into this?
Okay, let's see what happens next.
We have to leave.
Now he's asking us to stay. Now he wants to lock us. He actually locks me into the place, which is actually either a tort or a crime in New York City.
He tries to
You
break
can't
his
falsely
camera.
imprison people. Keep them in there.
Do you want me to?
I want the police to come here and see all these people.
Can I ask you about this video? Please.
You told them about how
Please.
he's lying to a press.
Here, just was it true what you said?
No.
Oh, here he says on a 3rd date with a guy, like normal men, trying to impress a date.
The guy, like
I want to impress you, so here's how I'm going to do so. There's a virus in China, and I'm mutating it. It's really bad for the American people. That's very impressive. I'm really turned on. I'm really horny. What the hell is this guy? I mean, these are not just randos. These are the medical professionals. You might be thinking this is a low-level guy. No, he went to Yale. Okay? He worked for Boston Consulting Group. He reports to the guy.
You got 1 out of 5 votes and you're talking shit. 20% with no money spent. That's a compliment.
So I'm in a little bit of a predicament because she's asked me to leave, but he doesn't want me to leave. So what should we do?
I didn't know what to do. Do I stay?
Can I borrow your
go?
phone? I can't record on mine, he said.
This is a really strange thing. By the way, this is not a strange thing for me. It's always an adventure whenever I do these sorts of things. And then things escalate.
Please unlock the door. Please unlock the door.
He's assaulting me.
He takes the iPad and he smashes the iPad. Like, this is the iPad where I bring to show them the video of them, right? As if the only location of the video is on that particular iPad. Really? It's not on the cloud, it's not back at head. No. He needs to destroy the iPad. He's on the ground. He's wrestling. And usually leaders lead from the front. I should be in there, but I'm like, if I touch this guy, they're going to say that I'm, assaulting him or something. So I back away as he engages in his fit. Wow. And then the cameraman gives him a shove.
Jeez.
Get him, cameraman.
And then we get out of there.
We're in New York City. This is.
And I had to pull away my reporter. He said, I'm gonna go after him. Let's go.
We're in New York City. This is remarkable.
And we walk outside.
Get him, James. Yeah.
Really, it's insane. Oh, and Jordan jumps in front of the car.
It's a Black Lives Matter protest.
See, by the way, I wasn't even in the car, but he thought that I was. So he starts stopping traffic. The Pfizer guy won't let anybody go away from the scene.
This shit is hilarious.
Well, he said Black Lives Matter.
He stops the car, thinking that I'm in it, but I wasn't. Okay. So naturally, Google censors the video. Google, if you search, this video is viewed like 70 million times. Google says, quote, you type in like Pfizer, Veritas, quote, it looks like the results are changing rapidly on this topic. So you can't actually find the video on Google. Also, Google is scrapping the internet from the guy's name and all of the places he's worked. You can't find it on Google. They've removed from the internet that this guy exists. So now the mainstream media, you might be saying, where's the New York Times? Where's the LA Times? Well, those journalists are lazy and they type it in Google, right? And they can't find anything. So they report, we cannot confirm that Tristan Walker even works for Pfizer. Well, of course, that's your job, to go do that journalism thingy and try to find that out. So, but something really magical starts happening, and now I'm really getting to the heart of the issue here, is how do we get around the corrupt mainstream media, which acts like an ostrich and puts their head in the sand instead of doing their jobs? Well, here's how. I told you we're going to win. We're not going to complain during the speech. Here's how you win. You, the citizens, found it out for me. I tweeted this video out, and then suddenly some random person who went to Yale with Tristan Walker tweeted out a picture of him standing next to Tristan Walker and saying, here's him in his lab coat at Yale. This proves that he's real. Another citizen posted his paper that he wrote for Boston Consulting Group. Jordan Tristan Walker, Josh Keller, and Clement Lawler worked for Moderna. And finally, a brave citizen who worked at Pfizer took screenshots of internal Microsoft Teams documents showing that this man works for Pfizer. There it is. You can't deny it.
Does he still?
Of course, the New York Times would report, we cannot confirm whether these things are real, right? But there it is. There's his CV on the internet for you to see. Pfizer even put out a statement. It was actually a non-denial denial.
Faucian?
They actually said that they
Faucian, dude? What the fuck, dude?
Remember what I said about doublethink?
That's a word?
And this was the
Faucian, like great or something?
At Pfizer, who, now we broke this story, okay, January 25th. A week later, I was removed from Project Veritas.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're just going to figure that out for yourself.
Yep.
But something also remarkable happened. That the woman who brought us the information, a guy reported the guy, but not for this woman. We would not have been able to confirm this. Was so inspired by the fact that I was removed that she went public after I was removed.
This was at CPAC.
On stage to speak about it. Brave, we need brave people like that.
Yeah. That's a real woman.
And O'Keeffe Media Group was born with the FEC story we did, showing money laundering out of Act Blue people knocking on the doors of homes across the country, knocking on the doors of homes, showing elderly people money being laundered through their names. Money
There's no way they
coming
had
from
$20,000 to
China,
donate.
the FEC and Act Blue, citizens across the country were recording all over the country about what was happening. So we're going to be doing more follow-ups on that story. Stay tuned to that.
Go to California.
Now,
See how bad that is.
speaking of Twitter, I wanted to tell you another war story. This is before Elon Musk bought the platform. We did a story on Twitter. It's very important to expose the media itself, by the way.
Yes.
We've investigated the New York Times, Washington Post. Democracy dies in darkness. So we go undercover into Twitter. This is one of my favorite investigations we did, and I'll tell you a little story about what happened. So we exposed, this is before Elon fired basically 2/3 of his workforce. This guy says Twitter is communist.
He doesn't even work. He's like, I work like 4 hours a week. And they charge 40 hours a week.
Really operating in a capitalist world with racism, because we're all like communists.
Twitter is commie.
Yeah.
Communists at Twitter. What's with all these communists? Gabriel Geib, the Twitter engineer. Okay. So we break the video and Elon Musk responds. He says, is this legitimate video? You know, always wary of whether it's real or not. We break another video
employee, buddy.
inside Twitter. This is actually Twitter's leader of advertising. Remember this video? And he says, and I'm going to do the impersonation. Elon Musk has Asperger's. He's autistic. You should take him seriously. This is the Twitter lead advertising guy.
He has Asperger's. Yeah, I know that. So he's special.
God, he's gay as a $3 bill.
His Asperger's. He's special. What is this guy talking about? Listen to this.
He has Asperger's.
He has Asperger's.
Yeah, I know that. So he's special.
He's special.
The guy is saying that
That dude's pretty special himself.
Is autistic. Which, I mean, why is it a bad thing? Even if it's true, anyway, this is what this guy is caught on tape saying. So Twitter sees this first video and puts out a memo to the whole company saying that there's this guy, James O'Keeffe, and he's out there with his hidden camera and he's filming you. Don't tell James O'Keeffe anything else about us. And whatever you do, this is Twitter's, I don't know, vice president. Whatever you do, don't talk to the Project Veritas undercover people. Okay, glad we got that memo. So then this guy, again, you can't make this up. In the meeting with the Project Veritas undercover journalist, takes out the secret memo that was sent to him by the Twitter vice president and proceeds to read it. to the Project Veritas undercover journalist, thinking that he's not a Project Veritas undercover journalist.
So good.
My undercover journalist, in a state of shock that this is happening, intentionally mispronounces the name of his employer so as not to be found out. This is one of the most remarkable things ever caught on camera.
Let me see. How to protect yourself. Groups like Project Veritas are active right now.
Veritas.
It's like some group that's trying to just out the employees. Like they're trying to go on dates with them like this. Like this is what's really happening. This is what
He's busted me. He just didn't know. He's too stupid.
Because I'm questioning everything about you.
You're lucky I met you organically.
Because I'd be questioning everything about you.
I just answered another frequently asked question. How do you get these people to say all these things? Well, there you go. I mean, doesn't that answer your question? They never think that the person they're talking to is recording them. It's always the other
So
guy
sad.
who's being recorded, not you. I trust you.
Vino Veritas.
Vino Veritas. In wine there is truth. So naturally I go confront this guy.
Yes.
Hey, you got room? I love that. Is there room at the table?
Look at his
By
face.
the way, look at this. I'm sitting down. This is in like one of those, outdoor huts.
He's scared.
COVID shack. He's sitting in what appears to be a church pew.
I'm surprised he's not burning.
On the other side of the table. Strange.
Was that Casey Tennant?
Wow. You remember Casey Okay, let's watch this.
Hi, Alex. I'm James O'Keeffe of Project Veritas.
He's like, what the fuck?
And you are on camera talking about...
He's like, oh, you got me too.
And you say that he has special needs, and he's going to say some crazy shit because he's special needs. You also, you're also on tape.
That's a weird noise.
Yeah, too much of that cocktail.
Had the cocktail.
Their brain has an aneurysm.
He's having blood.
I'm surprised he didn't call the police yet. We'll get to that.
Look at the chick next to him.
He runs into the restaurant. The restaurant's called Patola. It's on the Upper West Side of New York City. And out comes the person that works at the restaurant, and I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go again. They're gonna call the NYPD. I bet there's gonna be a situation. And the waitress says, what are you guys doing here? Who are you with? Now, usually when they ask me this question, I have a choice to make, right? Do I say, I work for the New York Times, I don't know, do I'm a journalist? No, but I'm gonna be honest. So I say, my name is James O'Keeffe, and I'm doing an undercover investigation. And she goes, I love you guys!
Look at how happy she is. She's like right on.
That usually doesn't happen in New York City.
Oh, she's so happy.
She looks so happy.
So I gotta go find this guy and confront him. And no, the owner of the restaurant now sees me filming.
Crocodile Dundee.
He's really upset. He's got a hat on, cowboy hat or something. I don't know what's going on. He comes up and says, what are you guys doing at my restaurant? What are you guys filming? I don't want you guys filming out here. This is a private establishment. And I say I'm doing an undercover investigation into Twitter to expose bias, corruption, and my name is James O'Keeffe, and he says, I love you, James O'Keeffe. So I'm thinking, I'm 2 for 2 on the streets of New York. I'd like to take those odds to Vegas. And then the guy is hiding in the restaurant. So this is actually May 5th. It's Cinco de Mayo. I'm going to order myself a taco, and I'm going to sit there and wait for him to come out, and suddenly out of the shadows, the Twitter executive comes out and starts running away from me.
Oh, there he is. Oh, there he is. Why are you running away from us?
We are running down the streets of New York City.
Oh my god. Look how gay he looks, babe.
He's running away. By the way, this is a really difficult shot to get.
Oh yeah, I've seen this video.
And he looks like he's running with a potato chip in his ass.
Get him!
And the camera guy is jumping over cabs, behind dogs.
That's a good cameraman.
I mean, he almost got hit by cars, people. And we're running a few blocks. He gets to what appears to be either his apartment building or some building, and he's actually locked out. Imagine how bad it must be when you're being chased and you forgot.
Video makes you look so bad. Like, oh!
He crosses the road.
Excuse me, sir. What is Elon Musk?
Oh, he can't get in. He can't get
James O'Keeffe. I'm on the street in New York City trying to talk to this Twitter.
And then he hides into some other establishment. It looks to be some type of comedy club, and he's talking to the worker there, complaining about me asking him questions. So the owner comes out. Oh boy, he says, "What are you guys doing in my establishment? I'm about to call the police." And I'm like, well, you're not gonna believe this. That guy that's hiding in your audience is he's a Twitter executive. He's caught on camera saying horrible things about autistic people and Elon Musk. And I have been running 20 blocks with my cameraman to try to ask him questions. Now this guy's hiding in your comedy club, and respectfully, sir, my name is James O'Keeffe.
Does he let him go give a
I'd
comedy
like to
skill?
go in there and ambush him. And he says, "I'm a huge fan of you."
Look at the smile on his face.
Vegas, baby, Vegas. And that, ladies and gentlemen, those are 5 out of 100 war stories that I could tell. And I encourage all of you to get involved with OMG, to become citizen journalists, to be empowered, to expose, because it's fun, it's great, it's about telling stories that enlighten and awaken, shake people awake, and it's also a lot of fun. Thank you very much for having me this evening.
I wish you had talked about Casey Keenan.
But I always kind of like to say, I told you so. It did disappoint, right? Anyway, I thank all of you guys for coming and supporting us. Don't forget to get your swag in the back. And most importantly, do not forget to find out who's in your central, or who's in charge of your central committees, and get involved with them. There's work to be done.
All right, guys, out of here.